Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out. What's up, man? What's up, man? Yeah. It does. I normally just use Bolt 35 for all my usernames and stuff, but I normally it was taken. I normally just use Bolt oddly, so 35 for all my usernames and stuff, but I just added a Halo in front of it. I normally just use Bolt oddly, so mainly because I used to play Halo all the time. I just added a Halo in front of it. Semi-pro. Mainly because I used to play Halo all the time. I just added a Halo in front of it. Semi-pro. Mainly because I used to play Halo all the time. I just added a Halo in front of it. Semi-pro. Mainly because I used to play Halo all the time. I just added a Halo in front of it. Semi-pro. Mainly because I used to play Halo all the time. There. So today I think that this is I think we can do block texture target. I don't think that's right. Yeah. What is texture target? Oh yeah, definitely not that. It's not the ID. I guess this doesn't track any sort of, I guess binding to the particular spot is. Yeah. Well, I mean, the older I get, the worse I get at them. But I was pretty good when I was in my 20s. Starts requiring too much. I don't know. They're just weird now. I feel like first-person shooters haven't made any technological progress in years, except for graphics. The networking stacks all look the same. It's all just UDP spam. My dog. Yeah, the map making was awesome. That was kind of state of the art. Okay, so how do we get some UVs on this stupid thing? I wonder if we can create that cube with let's see. Do these things have? I wonder if we add a NUV, if it'll. We don't need to do anything with UVs, right? UVs, we just, all we want them to do, all we want is for them to be, we don't actually have to apply any sort of magic to them. I think we just need them to be interpolated or tessellated or whatever. So let's change this times, and then we'll do texture, and then we'll do text, and then frag UV. Sounds legit to me, right? Yeah, I should have figured. What's it mad about? Oh. I could do RGB. I mean, I'm guessing from this that we're not passing. Yeah. No, I liked all of it, man. Yeah, and single player, there's nothing wrong with playing a first-person shooter for single player, man. Halo's a great game, not because of, I mean, the multiplayer is awesome, but it's a great game because the campaign was good, and it had a really good story, and co-op was fun. I'll be right back. I'm gonna finish this and throw it away. Delicious coffee. So yeah, I guess we're not passing in. Let me break this again so I can get to that source class. I love this because so it will accept the NUV. I wonder if our geometry class, if that geometry class is actually creating UVs to pass through. Doesn't look like it. I guess because it's creating cubes. It's creating a cube. So we could probably create a quad with normals and UVs. I did want to check something real fast. I did want to check to see if Brother Man has updated GitHub yet. Doesn't look like it. Well, it's fine. Okay. So this will let you create a quad. So let's just do that then. Let's create a quad. Maybe we can be fancy and we can create. This is what I don't remember. Is that I'm pretty sure in this little prototype that I wrote, I'm pretty sure that I have a geometry pool. What is this? Yeah, where we add a face. Why is back? What is that? Oh, that's for greedy meshing. Yeah, so ultimately, I guess I want to push things. What is geometry? Oh, that's like my storage class for that. Excuse me. Okay, I want. What do I want? What do I want? Not shader traits, buffers, not matrix locking queue. I haven't worn my hat in a long time because I got my hair cut. Yeah. You thought I was balding, didn't you? And that's why you wanted me to take my hat off. So you could see if I was bald. What I'm trying to figure out here, I thought I had a nice little little helper that would. Oh, it's probably called. Wait, what am I calling a UV vertex? Is that just a vertex and a UV combined? Yes, it is. I have so much. I cannot believe that I wrote all of this code like for just a prototype. I overdid myself. This was supposed to be an easy to follow prototype. I've made it too complicated for myself. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm looking at it in a text editor too, and I'm trying to locate files that way. But no, geom util. I have something that basically is a generic definition of. What's up, Bo? You guys act so surprised by the cap. I'm from the southeast U.S. We're all a little red down here. Yeah. I can't block geom. Duh. There it is. So what am I doing here? I think all I have here is basically just a mapping of generic quad representations. I don't know what that does. But you basically just provide a side or a normal or a direction. Wouldn't okay. What I really want is just a piece of geometry that uses these UVs. But I think the only thing that's available from this geometry thing is let's try it though. Let's turn off the rotation. So Bo, I don't know if you've caught up. We're not gonna see. Actually, never mind. I can't show it because we're still trying to set the UV, but there are no UVs. So really, what we want is to we're just gonna call this cube. But it's really gonna be. Create quad with normals still doesn't let you pat. That's ridiculous. Why is it either normals or UVs? Why doesn't it let you actually do both? That's just stupid. And why does it only let you create? Is this for real? Vector 2? How does that make sense? This is not going to create UVs though, which is just beyond frustrating. This one is for UVs, and this one will be for material.color. So there's our quad, but I'm pretty sure that we're not going to get where's that geometry class? Why is it that I could pass UVs for this one, but not for the one where I create normals? What, like, am I supposed to infer normals? Cole, give me some insight here. Because why is it that this, I mean, you may not even be able to answer this because I can't make sense of it. But why would this UV, why would this create quad right here in this is a third party, this is that third party library. Is there any rhyme or reason to having one that creates a quad with UVs and then having a completely separate one that creates a quad with normals but doesn't compute, it doesn't allow you to pass any UVs? Does that make sense? Because basically he's saying you could either create geometry with a UV and no normal, or with a normal and no UVs. And to me, that's some, like, you should be able to create one with all three. Am I wrong? Or is it because he's maximizing shared vertices and that way you can't actually use the same UVs maybe? I don't know. It's weird to me. I do have in here one called quad. What is that? And this is going to have our up and down and yeah, no, it definitely does. It definitely does. It does allow both. I can't grasp what the reasoning. Like, look, this quad includes normal but does not include UV coordinates. This quad includes UV coordinates from UV look, but it doesn't say anything about normal. And I kind of feel like the normal is necessary for, I mean, the normal is necessary in our shader for lighting. I mean, the thing is, in our engine here, right, for at least for right now, normals are always going to be, you know, basic. It just seems odd to me. Like, I feel like you should be able to. I wonder if you can just add, just as a, like, kind of a reference here. I'm trying to figure out. I do have a resolve normal, which looks like it does like v1 minus v0, v3 minus v2 normalized. All right, well, let's maybe... Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Huh. Okay. Well, let's let's take this. Let's add normals to it, because it really only needs one normal. So let's just for our simple example here, let's just take this class. I'm gonna get rid of the split thing, and let's turn on the zoom so that it'll. Of course, it doesn't want to work. I have to do this every day. I don't know why it can't remember the window name. Okay. So vertices are easy. Right. Yep. No, I understand. Oops. Because it does. It seems like creating a quad, it seems like passing the normal is so simple. Why would you not just do it? UVs, and then for this, what does it start at? Yeah, this is a XY. The other thing is it only creates like a flat quad pointing towards you, I guess, because it's an XY quad. So positive Z is the normal. So we'll just do vector 3. Normals equals new vector 3. And we'll just set that to new vector. They're all going to be the same, right? It's going to be vector 3.unit Z. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Bam. Yeah. New VBO. Vector 3. Normals. What's it mad about? Oh my god. Just show me what the options are. Vertex, normal. UV has to be. UV's got to be last. Stupid. God, just put your arguments on the next line so it's not 4,000 lines long. It's not hard. Okay, this looks fine. Then we got to create quad. What are we doing? Create quad. Excuse me. Sheesh. Same thing. Location, size, and then we'll do for UVs, we'll do new vec 2. We'll start at 0, 0. And I think there's 16. Let's see, UV width is going to be, I think there's 16 blocks in this sheet texture map, and I think it's 2048. So 2048 divided by 16 is going to be, that's going to give us the pixel width of each block, and then we want to do UV cell is going to be UV width. Right? Am I crazy? Each block is going to have that dimension, and then the UV needs to be the percentage. Yeah. It's going to be UV width divided by 2048. Wow, that's a lot bigger than 2048. I think I can just do 16. I could just do 16 divided by 2048. Why is my basic math so jumbled today? Yeah, I think we should do, this isn't going to be right. I can already feel it, but maybe we'll be able to tell what's wrong after. Oh, no. Oh, that's UVs. I forgot to switch it back to the texture. Yeah, whatever. There's no way that's right. Although it feels like it should be right. I don't know what the problem is. Where is that stupid stuff? Here it is. Console or right line. I want to see what this is. See what value this is. That actually seems right. But I could probably get it in a much simpler way, couldn't I? I need a scientific calculator. 16. No, that's probably right. So I don't know what the actual problem is. I could just try to pass it. Because this is right. I mean, this is right. This is always the size of one of those things. How do I get, I want to debug my GLSL shader. I just wanted to print values. Damn it. Um. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I don't think anything. I don't think anything. But alas, it is not showing up here. Maybe I should just try not to do. Let's see, Vec3. Maybe no lighting. Is my normal wrong? No. My normal's not wrong because what if I just did Vec3 like 1 0 0? This will work, right? Wait, what did I do wrong just then? Yeah, that's right. The quad itself is right. The texture is wrong. But why? Derp. 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 Son of a bitch. That was definitely the problem. Or a problem. I wasn't passing the frag through, or the UV coordinates through. Shit. I need to do like a damn it, it's gonna be mad again. Fuck. Sorry, this is gonna be a long day. I can already tell. I'm already getting pissed off. It's gonna be a long day. What is the problem? I mean, I gotta feel like what do I need to do? Where's on render frame? I mean, I kind of feel like does this need to be like 1? Maybe I just need to bind it or something. Maybe I need to bind it. Let's try that. So what is it? GL bind texture. That's so annoying. But hey, it worked. Okay, good. Let's look at this. I think I can open this in here. So I absolutely still need to send this guy a permission to use this. So before I think before that I commit any of this, I need to get his permission first. So let's grab this guy right here. That dirt. Let's grab the dirt. He was the third over, so actually he is more like, where's that UV calculation? So I just have to bind the texture. I was not binding the texture before rendering, and that's why. I wouldn't mind having a like a use this texture and then maybe a default value like bind. We'll just do like int. I think it needs to be uint. Int. It's an int. Bind location, where we can just call geo bind texture this. Oh. That's weird. I thought that bind texture allowed you to bind it to... Just calm down. I don't have time to justify myself to you, Mr. Colt. Just settle yourself down. Quit being OCD. You're only being harmful. I'm only kidding, man. For some reason, I thought that you would bind a texture to like a sampler location. I need to relook up some of this. GeoBind texture. No, okay, so I'm thinking about something else. Let me just figure this out real fast. Oh. Oh. So you set the active texture. You have to set the active texture, so let's do that. I think we can do that. GeoActive texture. There's texture unit. Oh, that's okay. That's what I want then. We're going to default it to 1. Or to the first one. And then we bind. Why is it pissed? Is that deprecate? Why is it deprecated? What did it say? Use what instead? Active texture int. Oh. Okay, I'm back to using this then. Int. Fine. Jerks. And then we're just gonna do block texture. I think that's use is the, and we'll pass it to 0 just to be clear. Okay, I need to get a little bit more interesting of a quad here. So let's, the UV we wanted was third, it's at the very top. So it's gonna be UV, so let's see, var, the X position is gonna be UV cell times 15. And the Y, no, Y is gonna be this. Y is gonna be the top. And this is gonna be times 3. X and Y. No. X, Y, and then this is UV cell, because this is dimensions. Hey yo! Why not C#? Why not? C# is X and A, man. Rip X and A. I loved X and A, and I still have a chip on my shoulder about Microsoft canning X and A. So oh my god. Sorry. Headache. Needed my migraine meds. What's a mono game? Oh. Awesome. I mean, listen, I'll give credit where credit's due. These guys are guys who make stuff like this are quite impressive. I just think it's hard to, I think it's a hard sell, to be honest. I think it's hard to sell people on it. Even though, like, you look at something like this and you're like, wow, this does everything. And I mean, granted, it does a lot, but seems, I mean, it's how I felt about Unity for a long time. It just seems like you can only go so far. No, because they killed the one good thing about browser games was Flash, and they killed it because of ego and bullshit. I mean, granted, there are a lot of people who don't like Flash, but Flash was the only cross-browser solution to games. It was the only one, and it did it brilliantly. I don't care what anybody says negatively about Flash. You're full of it. If you don't think that, I won't hold a debate about why Flash was the de facto standard for games on the web forever, and still is actually. I just think WebGL is a sack of shit. It's just a giant pile of crap. Good for you, man. I made money programming in Flash for like 5 years. Yeah, I don't. Not at all. In fact, at my last gig, one of the biggest projects I worked on, we had games that targeted iOS, Android, and Flash using our own, basically all written in C++. It's not really limited. It's just as limited as the web. So anyway, 1 second. I'll be right back. Hey, sorry about that. I had a kid issue. I had to mitigate. Oh. Um, yeah, hey, Colt, you're completely off base too. You're not only completely just wrong, but you're kind of off base. And I can completely vouch for it because I ported the entire Crossbridge library, or the Crossbridge C++ tool set to Flash, or to C++11. I ported the whole thing to C++11, and we were getting basically native, managed level speeds out of the VM. So in some cases faster than CSharp for primitive based calculations. So if you want to try again, no, Bo, I haven't. I didn't ignore it. I just am not. I'm not there yet. I'm focusing on this and my speed runs. You can all you want. It's true. I have tons of experience in writing backends for LLVM, and one of the jobs that I was hired to do was to port the existing Crossbridge repo, which used GCC, and so it was stuck on a legacy C++, upgraded to basically using Clang and C++11. And so we did, and then we wrote our entire application, and we used things like Scaleform, which you're going to love this. So instead of Scaleform, we just swapped in this C++ compiler for Flash, and we could build our apps in Flash. Amazing. Native speeds. You could do things like we cross compiled FFmpeg. We decoded Bink videos, since Bink 1 encoding was reverse engineered by FFmpeg. You could basically decode a frame of a Bink movie. You could blit it directly to the screen. We had an OpenGL to Stage 3D, which is Flash's version of hardware rendering. You could basically create a texture. You could decode, swizzle if necessary, create a texture, pump the texture data into the texture, right? Upload it to the GPU, render it all within a frame, and still stay around 60 frames a second. Oh, I'm not salty. You're just wrong. No, you're not. It's not that you're being unfair. You're being incorrect. You're basically using bias to try to justify your argument. No, you're not salty either. You're just wrong. I mean, I'll debate this all day, and you can say that whatever you want to about speeds and and banner ads or whatever ridiculous uninformed reason you want to use about Flash being, cancer or slow or whatever you want to say. But the fact of the matter is, there was zero other alternative for the web, in my opinion. Like HTML5, it was this is 5 years ago. People were like, Flash is dead. HTML5, WebGL, it's all here to stay, blah, blah, blah. And look where we are. We're 5 years later. I have yet to see a game that runs in the web nearly as well as a Flash game did. This was at my last gig. Back in 2010, it was still fast. Flash 10 was about 2010. Just look, no matter what year it was. I mean, the last time that Flash was absolutely horrid to use was like Flash 4, which was like in 2001 or something. But my point is that for the web, you couldn't get anything better than Flash. It had a untouchable raster render engine or vector rendering engine. I mean, it was insanely good. It was like, just as a side thing, it was super friendly to artists. Artists could create all sorts of amazing things in Flash. You could optimize so easily. The language was flaky. AS3 was flaky. I didn't like it as much. I wish it had more. The compiler was originally pretty slow, but they came out with the second compiler around the Flash 11 era. Oh, I'm not talking about how good it was. It's still, I mean, it still is. Show me an example where a game needs to be fully featured and fully rich and immersive and all of the above, and show me that game in both WebGL and Flash, and then argue that the WebGL side is somehow better. I mean, show me. And then show me that it runs on every browser the same. That's there, and therein lies the kicker. No, hell no. No. I'm not porting into Flash. I don't want this thing to run in the web. If I wanted it to run in the web, then I probably would end up using Unity, because there's going to be no one that's going to handle games in the web better than Unity. Unity will be the next sort of, hopefully, the next Adobe in Flash, right? Unity is the tooling that I think will reach full WebGL capabilities first. I mean, the last major demo that Adobe pushed with Flash was 3 or 4 years ago, and Unreal. They had an Unreal demo. I think they also did the same one in WebGL, but the Flash one was like bazillion times faster and better. I mean, here's the thing. Let me focus on this, and only this, is that Flash's biggest downfall, the biggest problem, well, I mean, the argument is basically that Flash is faster than WebGL, and I can give you plenty of examples. If you want an example, just get on Facebook, man. Look at all the fast. Look at Angry Birds. They did a full hardware-based rendering game in Angry Birds Friends, and they used Flash. I mean, you can go download right now. You can go download. You can download Inscripted, and then you can go download Crossbridge and write some C++ code that shows that shows the industries. I mean, I can look up some research papers right now that show benchmarks of C++ compiled with Crossbridge actually executing as fast and faster in some cases than managed .NET code. It just depends on what you're doing. But the one big, huge problem with Flash is that mobile refused to adopt it. Mobile refused to adopt Flash, except for Android tried, and then Adobe bailed on them. So Google actually tried, and Adobe just said, "We're not making money off this. We're out of here." And I'll give Adobe a lot of props because Flash was basically an open wound for them. They could not. They wanted to drive it the distance, but the money wasn't there, and the money wasn't there because it's always been free. And they couldn't come up with a good enough established market to push or a business model to push with Flash to end up justifying the heavy amount of resources they needed to put in it to make it successful. And it makes me a little irritated, but you can't, you know what I mean? They're business. What are you going to do? But at the same time, like, it's just mobile didn't adopt it, and they adopted the web-based stuff, which I think is hilarious because it's still just as proprietary. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing with Flash is that it didn't require a computer science degree to program in Flash. It's a very, very beginner-ish language, right? There are so many nuances with Flash too that it could be. There was somewhat of like an esoteric learning curve. Like you could learn so much, and then to really get better, you had to like learn the nuances and all the stuff that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And unfortunately, because of that ease of use and ease of, I've never picked up something that I could write like a stupid application, a graphical application, just sit down and write some code and have it work and be able to like visually see something within seconds. You know what I mean? Like you could open up like Flash Develop or something like that, write a quick like UI mock-up, and then run it and test it. I mean, it's why things like Scaleform are popular. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Scaleform. Scaleform basically just lets you write AS3 or design UI in Flash, and then it actually runs on the rendering layer in your C or C++ game. Like Unreal has Scaleform integration. Unity has a Scaleform integration library. Unity does UI. I mean, it's not great, but they do it better than just as many people as I know. Here's the thing. I am absolutely not a religious Flash person, but I do think that I had a huge problem with the backlash from this whole, like, it was like people just loathed Flash for no reason. And it got this horrible stigma associated with it, and people who use Flash or people who wrote games in Flash for a living got shit on because everybody and their mom thought that writing fucking JavaScript was better than Flash. And it was just like, what? And then here comes Node.js, and people are writing web servers in fucking JavaScript, and it's like, or have all of you lost your fucking minds? Like, it was a complete disaster in my mind. Because, like a lot of people, Colt had the preconceived notion that Flash was slow and cancerous and not good. And I just try to shed some light on it that no, it's not. Even still, man, people are still making Flash games because no one wants to be constrained. I mean, like Flash, yes, there was some constraints to Flash, but the web constraints are just as worse, just as bad. So I'm not pushing a Flash agenda. I see where it's gone. I mean, it couldn't make them leap to mobile. And for that reason, it seemed like it was going to fizzle. They couldn't get Apple hated Adobe and Flash. They hated that whole thing. And it's really crazy, but like a lot of people had ported Flash VMs so that it would run in Safari on iOS, like very, very early on. And you had to have a jailbroken iPhone, of course, or an iOS device, but you could install the Flash plugin in Safari, and I swear to you, Flash ran better on iPhone and iPad than inside of Safari than it did on Android, who was offering the support for Flash in the browser. It was quite the venture. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Apple basically said, no, we're not doing Flash ever again. And so, I mean, that was the beginning of the end. But you know, I always took issue with the fanboys of Apple jumping on and be like, yeah, fuck Flash. Oh, Flash sucks. Slow. So I just try to set people straight, man. I'm not trying to be a jackass, and I'm not trying to act like it's a religious belief. I haven't programmed anything in Flash in years. In the last 2 years. Year and a half. But I do know that it's still a very viable approach to making fast browser games. And 5 years ago, nobody would even be questioning what to use. And the last piece of this that I'm going to say, I'm going to end it on this, is that a lot of CEOs, project managers, marketers, a lot of those type professions started heavily pushing a WebGL agenda. And I'm telling you right now that the one sign that the business model is fucked is when you have those level people pushing what type of technology you have to use. That should not ever include that personnel. Ever. You should never have someone requesting a CEO or a project manager requesting use some piece of technology to do something. Like, what the fuck do you know about what tools to use? Like, my job is to come up with the tools to use and how to use them, not yours. So you like, what gives you like the audacity to try to, like, I don't come to you and say we have to use this project management solution or we should market this product this way, because guess what? I don't know as much about that. Anyway, those two things really put a chip on my shoulder, and so I just will argue it till the cows come home. Yeah, I mean, the community gets a bad rep for no reason. So can we rotate this guy? We should be able to. Heyo. This has the lighting, I think. Cool. Yeah, PHP gets a bad rep too. No, I just like my biggest issue is that people jump on specific technology that they haven't spent a significant amount of time in and start slamming it. And then make comments like, the burden of proof is of course on me. Well, you're the one making the claim. Like, I'm defending the claim. And yes, that's how it works. Burden on proof is typically on the accuser. And in my, in my 5 to 6 years of professional Flash game programming, says that you're full of shit. And I don't mind calling them. I don't mind calling it because it's a complete misappropriation of the technology and how good or bad it is. The only language, the only technology you'll ever hear me slam is the technology that's pushed by the business. WebGL, JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript, dude. JavaScript. Like, that is our web language. And bless the people who are trying to make that better. CoffeeScript, TypeScript, all those are great attempts to make everything better and scripting. But the end result is that we are stuck with a shit fucking platform for building things for the web. Good for you, Colt. That's the way you should go. It's the only thing you'll ever hear me slam. Because it is disgusting. There's no way. I mean, I'm not saying that like it can't get faster and better. It can. But we are stuck in this multi-vendor, multi-browser clusterfuck of standards. PHP rules, bro. No, you're just PHP. I mean, it's just a different thing. It's a different approach to things. But you're not going around bashing other languages or other approaches. Anyway, let's kind of review where we got today. We didn't get far. But I promise you, I love having these debates, but I'm gonna be real clear. Like, if you're talking about things that either, I mean, if I feel very, very strongly based on past experience about something, I'm probably gonna bring it up for debate. And the thing is like I'm perfectly fine with having people having opinions for whatever reason, but I'm not gonna let someone push their opinion out there if it's just not even close to true. I'm just not going to do it. Spent too much time listening to people badmouth it when I didn't have much of a voice at all. And so I'm gonna, especially as it pertains to, you know, Flash-based stuff, you know, it just proved to me that WebGL is better. I mean, it never has been more obvious that a mistake has been made. I mean, like, people were talking about Flash is dead 8 years ago, and it is still being used to make new things. And there's reasons for it. If WebGL and HTML5 were so much better, absolutely, then get Flash out of here. But the thing is it's not. It's not even close to it. It's not even close to it. I mean, no way in hell I would ever say use Flash to make a desktop app. You know, unless like you could maximize code reuse and you weren't worried about performance. But like, it's single threaded. I mean, your application sandbox is single threaded. So like, sure, it's fast, but it's a VM. It's single threaded, and you know, you're just not going to be able to squeeze out extra performance like that. Like, you can't maximize parallelism. You can't have concurrent. There are workers, which follows more of the ECMA standard approach, but in terms of writing like a desktop application, no, don't use Flash unless like you have a business reason, like saving money or reusing existing Flash code to make an application. Yes, Adobe Air. Colt, I struggle with the same thing. So let's talk about this a little bit. So this doesn't actually have the lighting, so let's try to add this lighting back in. Hey, that's pretty. Okay, cool. All right, so what we've basically done here is we've swapped our cube out for just a quad. We've added this texture, and this texture is being sampled from this giant sprite sheet. I need to get permission from the author of this in order to like number one, keep using it. Number two, I probably need to get permission from him before I even publish this. And it probably would have been even better if I had contacted him before I even started using this on the stream. So do not take my lead on this, because I think the appropriate thing for me to do would have been to contact him before this. But give credit to this, because this is an amazing texture pack for Minecraft, and I love the design and the art, and so that's why I would really like to use this. But I'm going to contact him as soon as I possibly can, and get permission. In terms of the sprite sheet, though, it's 2048 by 2048. It's 16 by 16. And we're just sampling things. The green in back here, I think it's Visual Studio's way of showing transparency. I'm trying to think of anything else I need to say. Basically, we kind of had to track down some texture stuff. I'm going to move this, thanks to Colt's passive aggressiveness. I'm going to move this to a better named function, or better named extensions class. Last night, Bo, you weren't here, but last night we fixed a lot of the rotation issues with Rock's object. And that's it. So basically, we're loading this texture, and we can be based on our UVs that we pass to our shader. We can sample that giant map of textures for our quad. So next time, we're going to start talking about how we can use these quads to maybe generate some texture. Generate some terrain. And then how we can move from building terrain to other pieces. So we're going to start getting into the actual voxel engine implementation. Yeah, I did. And I PB'd last night too. It was awesome. It was a good night. But anyway, I have to get to work because it's super late. But thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, it was great. Anyway, I know it was super. It was productive early, but I kind of lingered on after the debate thing. But I will gladly have these debates with anybody if you really want to go at it. But you can't be spouting off nonsense of trying to argue debate tactics, because I'm leaning on. I will share an opinion, and if I'm wrong, and you call me on it, then absolutely I'll eat it. I will eat being wrong, because I am wrong a lot of times. But if it's something that I know a lot about, I'll go to bat for it. I can't today because I got family stuff after work today, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anything in. I need to get the setup going first, and then we can talk about it. Yeah, I need to talk to him too. I'll send him a text or something and see if I can get him on board with it, and we can do a race or something. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.